What is going on, Ship It Nation YouTube station? We are back with a Monday edition of the NBA show. We're a little late. My guy BJ and I were just catching up. This is Ham's final NBA show of the season. It's flown by. It's been great. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Just hit that like, hit that subscribe for us, button for us. We'll certainly appreciate it. I'm transitioning over to MLB starting Friday. My guy BJ, my guy Tidal, and Ria will take us home through the finish line of this NBA season. And we have quite the list of players playing tonight, some dudes I've never even heard of, but we're going to break it all down. BJ, how was your weekend? I know you probably did some golfing, some drinking, some being a dad, but what's going on, man? How was your weekend?
Yeah, man, it was good. I did those, not so much being a dad. You know, the old lady and my son, they went out to visit her mom. So had a couple of days flying solo Friday, Saturday. I told him, I said, hey, man, don't do that again, man. I drink too many beers and play too much golf. You got to get back home so I feel like I'm structured again. But no, man, last NBA show for you. Excited. You know, we're talking about it pre-show, but man, it's been fun. You know, before NBA season started, I'm like, dude, I hate this guy. I'm stuck with this guy, you know, and then we have a ball. But no, all jokes. We did some MLB stuff last season, but it's been fun. Like I said, season flew by and you know, it's always going to be a struggle trying to decipher some of these slates at the end of the season. And I think got to be okay eating some chalk. So that's what we're going to chat about today.
Yeah, we're going to chat about today. Appreciate everybody tuning in. And Jose, we'll get to some of our favorite plays tonight at point guard and small forward. We certainly appreciate everybody tuning in as always. Let's get right into it. We got 6 games. We'll try to breeze through here. I don't know, 45 minutes or so. A lot of injuries to talk about. A lot of superstars not playing, especially on teams that have been eliminated and just playing out the string. But the first game up on the slate that we're going to talk about are going to be these Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Pacers. Pacers had, I don't know, BJ, 2 tough games, if you will, against the Nets. Or Tristan Watford was talking some trash back and forth. So good banter between them. But Ant is questionable tonight, so obviously make sure you're paying attention to him. And then no major news on the other side. I see Benedict Mathurin is questionable as well, but nobody is out as of yet. But talk to me a little bit about this game. Should be a good real-life game, you know, close spread, decently high total at almost 229. But talk to me, Timberwolves at the Pacers.
Yeah, so kind of as before we dive in the game, kind of broadly overview of what I'm thinking is, you know, we have our 6 games. We have our value with Pelicans, Sixers. We have some obvious kind of combos with DeAndre Jordan and Jamal Murray as the night goes on. And I agree with all that stuff. So I think the way that I'm approaching this slate is I'm not trying to get too crazy off of that value / easy guys to play. Jamal Murray, DeAndre Jordan, you know, Kelly O, stuff like that. I'm going to be okay with a lot of those guys. And I'm kind of looking for that 2v2, 3v3 swap in a lot of these other games. So to dive into this game, I mean, just some quick team notes. T-Wolves obviously been shooting tons of threes. They're the number 1 team over last month as far as accuracy goes. But the Pacers, they've been doing a better job at taking away those threes and catch and shoots. So, you know, I'm kind of curious to see how their offense may change. And we find ourselves, you know, Halliburton, the last note before we dive into players, his back hasn't been feeling the best over the last week or so, he came out and said. So that'll kind of lead us off right from this Pacers side. We'll start there with the Halliburton stuff. He played 32 minutes in that close game versus the Nets. 8,500 for a guy that I think could, you know, do the same thing tonight and play a max of like 32 minutes. I don't think they want to push him too hard. So he'll be immediately off my list, especially when we talk about almost 20% ownership. That's going to bring into play, like you said, Mathurin's questionable. If he was to miss, we're going to bump Nembhard and Nesmith. I like Nesmith for the discount there for the extra 800. And the real question of this whole team is going to be Siakam for me at 8,300. You know, he's going to be low owned. You know, we see him at 7%. I think that's fair. I was thinking somewhere between 5 and 8%. I think he's a really good avenue, especially if Halliburton gets a ton of ownership with what I believe is a very easy spot to start monitoring minutes over the next couple of games to get that back feeling better than what it was. 8,300 for him, and then Turner at 6,500. Those are going to be, you know, 2 very big consideration points for this team. Siakam obviously has shown us upside, but he's also showed us a really low floor. The matchup necessarily isn't the best where he's going up against, you know, Randalls and Goberts and Naz Reids. So a little hesitant there, but that's why the ownership is going to be down. So as this team as a whole, I guess by secondary plays and by necessity, if Mathurin is out, you can get to Neesmith or Nembhard. But like I said, very secondary plays there. And then the decision for me, after saying that I'm going to fade Halliburton with what I believe is a minutes cap, going to Siakam and Turner. And I think I'll go, Siakam to just get a little bit different at the 7%, 8%, whatever it comes into, because that allows us to kind of play some of these chalkier pieces and be okay with the chalk, which I believe are in really good spots. Jumping over to the T-Wolf side, I mean, we'll lead it off here with Ant, like you said, questionable tonight. I'm curious about how this whole team shakes up. Like I said, they're shooting a ton of threes and the Pacers take them away. Do they continue to take, their threes and get some worse looks? Or they try and, play a little bit different style of offense tonight? I would lean that they are in the NBA. They're smart. They know what they're doing. So it kind of might be some bigger guy stuff down low. Maybe Ant, if he is playing, gets the rim more than he's used to and not taking as many threes. If that's the case, 9,500, I mean, damn, 9,500 for somebody that might lose a little upside on the scoring aspect versus a team that takes threes away. I'll be okay with it, because we don't have much to spend on this slate. But Randall and Gobert will kind of be a decision point for me when looking for game stacks. I think obviously Randall at 75 has shown us plenty of upside since coming back. I think Gobert may get a few extra looks with the way this defense is going to shake out from the Pacers side. So I don't mind him at 6,300. And then to round out the team, we have to talk about $3,700 Mike Conley. Not a sexy play, not somebody like I'm looking to get into lineups. But if you don't believe in some of these below 4K value pieces that we'll get to later in the slate, there is something to say about somebody that's going to play low to mid 20s in minutes that offers you a pretty safe floor to get 20 to 25 DraftKings points.
Yeah, excellent breakdown there. I mean, these prices on these guys are just way too high for me, BJ. I think Miles Turner would be my favorite at 6,500. I know you mentioned him. I can't get to Halliburton, like you said, with just his minutes. And I agree with you, too. I like Neesmith over Nembhard with that $800 savings. I think you said that as well. But and that's only if Mathurin were to sit. But this game looks like a good game, but I think it's going to be more of a pass for me, BJ. But that's just my take.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And then jump into what Richard said. If Ant was to miss, I really do like the McDaniels bump. I really do like the Randall bump. I think those will be the two guys that take the majority of the usage away if Ant's off the floor. I don't think we're going to see, extra looks to Gobert. I just think kind of the style of defense could get him a couple extra, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and not if Edward sits, I like Nas more than you like Nas or Julius if Ant sits.
It's pretty tough to say. I think you're a lot safer playing Randall because, will they? I don't know. That's tough. I mean, I think they're both really good plays. I think I lean Randall a little bit more.
Yep, don't hate that. Someone says Miles Turner birthday. If you're into the birthday narrative, there you
Kid
go.
Lighton, shout out. He's got every NBA player in his calendar. He's on the birthday watch. I absolutely love it.
I remember you said it, Friday it was my boy Miles Bridges' birthday, and then you were like, wait till Sunday night, and lo and behold, he was down on South Beach, and I looked up and he had 5 points in the fourth quarter, ended up with 17. So he was out there with Coach Spo's, that old lady, him and Jaime Jaquez. Or doing the hey, Jaquez played 5 minutes. Coach Spo said, "Oh, that dog ain't hunting. You're playing 5 minutes tonight, homeboy." And Jaquez played
crazy?
5 minutes on Sunday
Isn't that
night.
crazy? I was reading that. She's liking all of his Insta pics. Jeez, man. A lot goes on in the NBA, man. I feel like they're just trading around the same people. It's pretty funny, actually.
I saw some Cam Whitmore picks, man, to have millions and be 25 again. Oh, goodness gracious.
I saw that picture too, man. You're making some money, man. You gotta get a little bit better than that, Like, I don't know if I would be posting that or be happy about that pick, but
yeah, I hear you on that. Moving on, we got the cover boy, the King, headed down to the Magic City tonight. Another good game, but it's going to be a defensive-minded game. And LeBron is questionable, but he was the cover boy on tonight's slate. So should be a good real-life game. Rui is questionable. Unfortunately, tonight you cannot click on Bronny James's name as he is out back in the G League. LeBron is probable. He should be playing. Then Cole Anthony, I think I saw where he did not practice, listed as questionable. And then no other major news. Suggs is still out. But anyway, talked about this game. We got a super low total, 4-point spread. I think it's maybe definitely max 2, probably max 1 from this game. But talk to me, Lakers at the Magic, 215-point total.
Yeah. Broad slate, absolutely. This just seems like a game where it's really tough to get to. You start looking at obviously LeBron being back with Lucas Price makes it really tough to get to one of those guys. And then with the bumps to Paulo, almost 10K, and then Franz almost 9K, it makes it really tough. I will say this game as a whole, to kind of go back to what I said too about kind of the broad slate overview, is that we're going to have the value. We're going to have, players that, feel like not locks, but very likely clicks as of now. And I think there's something to be said when filling out a roster of a bunch of chalk pieces and kind of looking at some of these guys that are going to play full minutes. We'll get to a game next where I can't anticipate anybody in the Raptors-Wizards game getting over 30 minutes of playing time. And then when you jump to here, well, I think, mid, at least a floor of low 30s to mid 30s with guys like Luka, LeBron, Franz, Paulo, even a Wendell Carter, So I think this game will offer us low percentage plays to be able to mix and match out of lineups to get us different and still play chalky lineups if we like the value pieces. So start on the Lakers side, keep it short. The matchup is interesting from the Lakers perspective because the Bulls have done the Magic have done a better job of like taking away, catch and shoot stuff and kind of secondary scoring. And they have a bunch of people that can score on ball, and that's what the Magic kind of let happen. So when you look at it that way in a vacuum, Luka seems like a better play, even in a lower total, because he may, score more. There's a reason why he's 5%, 12-3 is a big number, and LeBron's back on, so I'm not recommending him, but in a vacuum, it makes sense as a matchup. Same kind of goes for LeBron. Same goes for Reeves. These guys are too expensive, though, so it's really hard to get to them. I don't really want to get to many of these secondary Lakers pieces. If Rui misses, you could make a case for DFS or maybe even a Dalton Connect, but I think I'd rather go elsewhere with similarly priced pieces that have way more minutes and way more upside in other games. And then jumping over to the Magic, like I said, I think it's Paulo over Franz for me now that the increases come and you get a little bit less ownership on Paulo. And then kind of like my sneakier play that I wouldn't even anticipate at 10%. I was thinking more of 5% for Wendell Carter Jr. at 51. Price is coming back up a little bit, still getting the minutes, showing us the upside. And I think he'll be able to perform well in a matchup like this. But as a whole, if you're looking at like a quick 20 minutes before the slate starts, you're not going to want to get to very many pieces on this game. But when you kind of build out your rosters and you do start taking a Jose, a Kelly O, a Justin Edwards, a Jamal Murray, a DeAndre Jordan, we're going to have some salary to spend. And I think there's worse places that you can go on this slate with the amount of money you're spending on Lukas, LeBrons, Paulos, and Franzes to guarantee yourself the 30 minutes of production, whether or not the total is big or small.
Yeah, excellent breakdown there. This game's tough, man. LeBron is popping in the optimals on both sites. We have him projected pretty good. 12-3. Yeah, you said, how could you pay 12-3 for Luka in this matchup? It's not for me personally. More of a cross-off game for me. But, yeah, moving on to the next game. You mentioned it. Raptors at the Wizards, 227-point total, 2-point spread. I fell into the baby Vooch trap on Saturday night against the Knicks. And with 3 minutes left to go in the game, he gets inserted for the first time, which I don't know why that happened. But Raptors, they were sleepwalking last night. They played absolutely awful. But talk to me about this game. Any love for the Raptors? Any love for the Wizards? Just real quick to talk a little bit about the injury news, because there is no RJ Barrett tonight. He's resting up for his Cancun trip. No Chris Boucher, no Grady Dick. And then on the other side, I think everybody is pretty much playing that has played the last couple games. Obviously, Koulibaly's been out. Malcolm Brogdon's been out. Kispert out for the season. But talk to me about this game.
Yeah, no, I think you said it perfect. Both these teams have the tanking implications. The starters just aren't getting the full run. It feels like a really weird spot because when you look down this game as a whole, I couldn't pay somebody to get behind Scotty Barnes quickly, Jordan Poole, Alex Sarr. So when you're looking at it and you say, okay, well, they're going to play the first half and they'll get some run in the second half, and then we won't see them in the fourth quarter. It makes it tough. Like I said, I can't project anybody in this game for more than 30 minutes. All of the quote value pieces that we've kind of been getting used to, they're all priced up. So from a Raptors perspective, absolutely not on Barnes, absolutely not on Quickly. I mean, Pirtle's price is back up, flirting around the 6K, and he seems to always get that ownership, even though he's on kind of like the minutes monitor. But it makes it tough. I don't want to get to these guys on 6 games where, we can project so many other guys for cheaper that are going to get more minutes and have more upside. So I guess you can get behind a little Jacoby Walter, maybe a little Jameson Battle, but both those guys are plays that, we would play in the mid 3Ks, not kind of flirting with the mid 4Ks. Looking at the bench, I mean, Jamal Shed, I mean, okay, fine. He's had a couple of nights where he's able to been able to outproduce his DK and FanDuel tags. But that one still kind of hurts when the wind blows. I mean, at any given time, they could be up in the game by 10, knowing they need to lose, and they start pulling some of these guys, and they start playing the Castletons and the Mogbos and stuff like that. So from a Raptors perspective, I won't be getting to any of these guys, and I love the fact I see double-digit ownership on Quickly. Barnes is close to that, Pirtle, because I'm okay. Like, those guys don't have ceiling for me when I can project them for 27 minutes. And then jumping over to the Wizards side, kind of the same story. I mean, the last couple of nights we've seen them play. I mean, we've seen like Poole, he scored well, but he didn't get that finishing run. SAR's the same way. Bub Carrington, I guess Keyshawn George would be like the highest projected minutes producer here. But, tell me if I missed anything. It's really tough to look at both of these teams that obviously, are going to be teams that we target against. But I can't get behind anybody because I can't project them for minutes.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Quickly is going to be super popular. I mean, but how many minutes is he going to play, right? I mean, Washington's been horrendous against the point guard position. They've just been horrendous in general. And you said you couldn't get on board with Scotty Barnes. I don't hate Scotty Barnes, I don't think, but man, I mean, they could pull the rug out from underneath us and him play 20 minutes,
When you look at like over the last couple of nights, like when the Raptors have been on the slate, like Scotty Barnes pops and all this stuff. I know he had, a little bit of ceiling out of tag, but I agree. I mean, he looks good, but if he gets no fourth quarter run, he's not good. And then I see some people in chat kind of talking about Quickly. If he plays 26 minutes tonight, yes, he can pay off the tag, but what are the percentages he gives you a tournament winning score? So that's kind of where I sit. But anyways, I missed Gang Green. What word did I say that's not a word? I don't know.
You made up a word. I don't remember what it was, but I saw it.
I need to slow down on the espresso before the show. You gets me talking a little too quick, but
yeah, I'm just trying to see. I mean, I know it's late March. If this game was in December, we're playing all these dudes, right? Because they're playing 35 minutes, but man, it's going to be tough. It's I don't know what to do yet. But anyway, we'll move on to the next game. Obviously, as more news comes out, we got about 2.5 hours before lock. Make sure you're tuning in over at the Nation. We got the Mavericks. We got AD listed as probable. Don't know why they would play him, but he might play tonight against the Nets. I'm on team Never Brooklyn. I hate rostering Brooklyn players. Spencer Dinwiddie going ham on Friday night, but should be, I guess, decent game from a spread perspective. But with AD listed as questionable, you got the usual suspects out for Dallas: Dante Exum, Daniel Gifford, Lively still missing, Caleb Martin. Brandon Williams is probable. Then on the other side, there's a whole litany of teams, players out for the Nets. But this game is another pass for me, BJ, unless you talk me into somebody. But talk to me about Dallas at the Nets. Former Nets great Spencer Dinwiddie. My revenge game, if you will.
I absolutely love it.
That's what it was. Implications or whatever.
Implications. My bad, fellas. Hey, we're getting better every show, though, so I'll put that on the list to get ready for the next live stream. But
no, it says Gifford. Who's that? Gafford. Excuse me. I was thinking of what was her name? Kelly Lee and Kelly Lee Gifford. Gafford.
Yeah. You threw Gifford in there.
Newens is just in here, so I don't have to talk bad about Giannis. That's why he came in here.
Yeah. I won't have a problem ever talking bad about Giannis, but I digress. Getting to this game, kind of some quick team breakdowns. I mean, the Nets as a whole have been a little bit better on defense over the last couple of weeks, but they're still giving up a bunch of secondary off-ball scoring and giving up points at the rim. We know the Mavs have been giving it up at the rim over the last couple of months, but the Nets have been really bad on offense, clearly. I will start this game by saying I think we're going to want to get to some of these Nets guys. I really do. I think when we'll start on that side first before we dive into a tough to distinguish kind of Mavs team. But I mean, when you look down this list, I think the starting five, including Wofford off the bench and maybe even Sharp, could arguably be in play. My two favorites are going to be Cam Johnson at 7K and Nick Claxton at 57. I think, the same thing that we've talked about, it's 7K. So he kind of falls into that mid-tier range with studs that are overpriced that, he's going to take high teens in shots. And if the game, if he gets scoring, at a really good pace, we could see as high as 20. So 7K for me, I do like him. He'll be my favorite net. And like I said, the Mavericks have been giving it up at the rim. So I like me some Nick Claxton at 5,700. And then Wofford, he was, in the post-game interview was joking about how he got double team versus a playoff team. He's 4,700. He will get some love tonight. That's a little bit of a tougher spot looking back at his last two games. He's taken 11 shots and 14 shots. But I think he's low 20s, maybe high as far as mid 20s in minutes go tonight. So 4,700 with some value we'll get to in the next couple games. Not necessarily my favorite play, but secondary play as far as Nets goes. And then Keon Johnson, Zaire Williams, and Tyrese Martin, they'll kind of be a secondary batch for me that I'll mix in if I'm game stacking this game. Pick my favorite between Cam and Nick Claxton and then kind of cycle in other Nets. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. And then jumping over to the Mavs side, I mean, if AD comes back, we talked about a pre-show. It doesn't make any sense for him to come back. If he does, we'll obviously anticipate, a minutes monitoring issue where I don't expect him getting, 26 minutes or more tonight. So I think you cap out. I think a safe assessment is like 23, 24 minutes if he does come back. That'll eat into some of these guys, obviously the Kai Jones, the PJ Washingtons, but I mean, we're looking at Spencer Dinwiddie, Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, PJ Washington, if AD wasn't in. And these guys are all priced up. They're going to play tons of minutes, but the Nets defense has been a little bit better as a whole, and we don't have much upside at these tags. So I would consider them all secondary plays. I think this is a very interesting game stack, kind of a weirder total, but a nice close spread, and nobody really knows where to go. So if that's the case, I will want to get a few shares of specifically Dinwiddie, and PJ Washington at increased tags that offer us some upside. But absolutely no Klay Thompson for me. And, the kind of running joke here on all the shows is we're still paying essentially 8K for Najee Marshall. So I'll be off him. But I think there's interesting avenues, the Dinwiddie and PJ Washington, and mixing them in with Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton, and maybe one of these secondary Nets on the other side.
Yeah, we were playing Najee Marshall at 6K. We're not paying almost 8K for him. And then, yeah, I'm with Nikki. Why is AD even playing? Season's over. He's fragile. No, thank you there. Once again, BJ, like these prices, man, these prices are just way too high. And I can't believe you uttered the words, I'm okay paying $7,000 for Cam Johnson. That's no thank you for that. Not paying $7K.
I think every time I've said that this season, you've said the same thing, but he's got a little upside. I mean, shoot, man.
I think I've been right. Times. I don't know. Maybe 30 out of 10 times I've been right playing. Nope, not playing. I'm not playing Nets. I mean, you won't find me with a net on my team. But yeah, I don't. This game's tough, man. Ham wants to know Banchero or Wagner. I think you said Banchero. I think I would agree with that. If price didn't matter, Banchero's been playing a little bit better as of late, in my opinion. There, I think there's going to be tons of value on this slate, so I'm passing on Brooklyn and then probably passing on the Mavs just at those elevated price tags, as you alluded to. Moving on to the next game, it is going to be an interesting one to talk about. We got a bunch of injuries to mention, most notably no Quentin Grimes tonight for the 76ers. Has been shooting it a bunch. Bona is going to play. Andre Drummond is listed as out. No other major news to mention. I guess Lonnie Walker would be one that's not going to suit up. But the usual suspects plus Kelly Oubre are still out for the 76ers. Then on the other side, Pelicans on the second night of a back-to-back. No Bruce Brown tonight. No C.J. McCollum tonight. Misi is questionable, so pay attention to that. But you're going to have a ton of value in this game, BJ. Jordan Hawkins, I'm going to go ahead and say it. He's a lock for me. Love Jordan Hawkins tonight. He's going to be very popular, but I think that's good chalk. And then on the other side, there's going to be a lot of chalkiness too with the 76ers. Talk me through this game, Philadelphia at New Orleans.
Yeah, it would be easier to look at this game as a whole if Quentin Grimes obviously wasn't listed. But I think we could just envision, the lineups that we saw, prior. We're going to get the Butler, the Downton, the Edwards, Okeke, and Bone is obviously going to be in there. So, and then from the Pelican side, I mean, man, we could play everybody. We can play everybody in this game. I mean, it's going to be a popular game when we look around the ownerships. It opens up so much. Starting from the Sixers side, I think we have to go to these guys that are fairly priced, that have shown us upside. So my first and favorite, as the field agrees, is Justin Edwards at 5K. I mean, I think over the last 4 games, he's 6x that tag every single time. He might have had a lower production game mixed in there, but he's there. I think Reese and Bona are like a very interesting coin flip. I think Bona will be more popular, even though he is priced up to 4.8K. I would anticipate them kind of splitting the center minutes. So I would throw 25 to 26 on, or 24 to 26 on both these guys, and kind of see where, your projections lead you there. I'm okay with either one of those guys, preferably, if the ownership on one, that wasn't starting was lower, I'd automatically go there, but really inclined just to go the lower piece and kind of keep moving. But you can get to all these guys. I think we're going to bring Jared Butler back into play a little bit here at 6,100. I know the price is up, but I'm okay. I mean, both these teams have no clue what defense is. So I think it's going to be a nice, easy fantasy production game for everybody that's involved. And then jumping over to the Pelican side, I mean, I'm going to be making teams tonight where I just eat Jose, Hawkins, and Kelly O and just say, hey, I get so much that I can kind of move from here. Almost 120 team total. A lot of those, points will come between those 3. So they'll be my favorite. Hawkins, preferably my favorite. And then Jose barely squeaks out Kelly O, in my opinion. But all 3 are going to be fantastic plays tonight. Going down to the rest of the lineup, I mean, Alfred Payton, he's not really in the mix. I mean, if he does end up getting the start at 3K, we're looking at 20 minutes of play, which you could argue at 3K, you can play, but we're going to get to a guy in DeAndre Jordan next that just came off 38 minutes. And even though we anticipate that to come down, I don't think Payton even, gets close at 3K. Misi, I guess, is okay at 4,500. I mean, he's going against, some hard-working defenders, I think, specifically in bonus. So that might be a little bit tougher, and I feel better about some of these perimeter stretch 4s, if you will, with Kelly Olynyk more. But that's where I'll kind of finish up, is you could play everybody essentially in this game. Love Jose, Hawkins, Kelly O on one side, and I'm leading the pack on the other side with Justin Edwards. And then if Jared Butler is going to be 2%, 3%, 7%, he might be my second favorite run back piece. And I could find plenty of my game stacks or my lineups that I'm building that go Edwards, Butler, run back the 3 that I really like from the New Orleans side.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. I've been accused of having a man crush on Jordan Hawkins, and maybe I do. I mentioned him on Friday night. Loved him at UConn. 4K, he's a certified lock for me. I was going to ask you, I didn't hear you mention Jeremiah Robinson Earl. Played 30-plus minutes last night. Been balling pretty good. What's your take on him?
You know what? That's really interesting. I'm going to write that down and kind of dive back into that. If I'm not mistaken, on Friday night, wasn't he the first sub in the game too?
I don't recall, but just game log watching, he still played 29 minutes in that one, where Kelly O and that Makovich guy have only been playing, low 20s. So younger
very
guy.
Interesting call there. And what would you like? So like the one Kelly O game on Friday, we were talking about it. He just didn't play the fourth quarter, right? So did he get that extra run in the fourth quarter? Would be my.
Well, last night they pulled him with 8 minutes to go in the Detroit game. And then Makovich fouled out, and then they put him back in. So I think he was done for if he didn't foul out. But I mean, they're not giving those guys more than 25 minutes. I mean, let me just look and see. I mean, yeah, Kelly O's played 25, 22, 30, 24, 31, 22. I mean, it's kind of hit or miss. I don't know the reasoning behind it, but
I'm pulling up popcorn real quick too, so we can see if.
What's Kelly O's percentage? I mean, 20%. If he's 20% owned, that's an easy fade for me. Man, once again, though, it's like these coaches on these teams that have nothing to play for. Like, why not play this Robinson Earl got 40 minutes? Like, he's not even going to be on the team next year. Just run him into the ground.
Yeah, and then specifically looking at him, he was the first sub versus Detroit, ran the whole first quarter, played the last half of the second quarter. same rotation, was the first sub in and played like 8 minutes in the third, and then started the fourth and then came back in and finished the game. So, that's going to be a mistake for me. I'm going to take another look at him too, just to be sure, because I couldn't agree more. I mean, you take Kelly O, take away 5-6 minutes from him, I think they go directly to Robinson Earl. So to be determined on him, but I'm going to dive in after the show and kind of take a peek.
Yeah, TBD. Yeah, excellent breakdown there. And there's obviously a lot to be, depending on who starts, they may rule somebody out here before you know it, but excellent breakdown there. The last game on the slate should be one with a lot of fantasy implications. I'm going to throw the L word out there once again. DeAndre Jordan at $3K. That's a pretty good price to pay for old DeAndre, the former what they used to call themselves out there in LA, the Lob Brothers or whatever they were. But
Lob
3K,
City.
Lob City. There you go. There you go. With no Joker again tonight. Jamal Murray, great spot. But talk to me about this game. You got Josh Giddey coming off a magnificent performance Saturday night against the Lakers, up to $9,100. Kobe White, $8,000. But talk to me about this game. Should be a high-scoring game in this contest. By far and away, the highest point total on the game at almost 238 points. But Bulls at the Nuggets, 3.5-point dogs. The Bulls are. Yeah,
I think you said it. Kind of let it off really well. We'll start with the Nuggets side because I think that's the most important thing to talk about. I think the Bulls is a little bit easier. From the Nuggets side, DeAndre Jordan played 38 minutes last night. If he plays 32, we were kind of talking about that pre-show. I said, what would be at 3K, what's the limit of minutes where we get cute? I mean, I think if he plays 25 minutes, 24 minutes, he's still good at 3K. So, coming off of 38, rebounded the ball awesome in that game. I think he will be, very popular as we see half of the field. And I think I'm very comfortable just locking him in at 3K, followed by Jamal Murray at 8,100. I mean, we've seen these games with Joker off of the floor, and he just absolutely goes off in them, taking tons of shots, still getting a fair amount of assists in those spots. And then you throw in the idea that we're going against the Bull, or they get the matchup with the Bulls. And yeah, all the stars kind of aligned for playing Murray and DeAndre Jordan together. So I really like them. And then, the interesting stuff to kind of, keep in your head throughout the night, obviously, is the Aaron Gordon stuff being questionable tonight. I think if he's in at 6,500, it obviously is going to hurt the Browns, the Porters, the Russell Westbrooks. So I'm hoping that we get that news after lock and we're able to be prepared for the Gordon news and be able to get to Westbrook and Brown and Porter. So I would rank those between the three. I'm going to put Gordon as my least favorite if he is in at 6,500. I think, yes, he's been playing really well. The matchup kind of, is positive for him as for everybody else. But I think with all the multiple injuries he's had all season, he's, in a prime situation to be able to be monitored or, taken out if for some reason this game did get out of hand. So I'll rank him the lowest. After that, I mean, all these three guys could be, changed up in your personal preference. But for me, it'll be going back to Westbrook and Brown and then Porter following after. I think, this is one of those games up and down that profiles really well for Russell Westbrook. I know he's 7,500. I know he's still going to be popular, but I still do like the upside there if Gordon was out. So he'll be my favorite, and then Brown and Porter are right behind him. But kind of the same old story. If Aaron Gordon ends up being out in this game, I'm good with anybody in the starting five for the Nuggets side. But Jordan by $1 million and then Murray not far behind him. Those guys are my two favorites. And then when talking about the Bulls, I think it's officially time for me to say that I've made the mistake of not giving Josh Giddey enough respect over the season. His price is up, but almost quadruple doubled in that night. We had 8 steals, I believe. 9,100's a real tag, but in comparison to some of these other guys that are priced a little bit more expensive, it makes it really interesting with the upside that he has in this matchup. So I think it's going to be Giddey over Franz and Paulo. Like, I know what I said earlier, but Giddey would fall into the bucket of, being protected in his minutes with how much he's been playing over the last couple of months. So I like him in comparison to those guys. And then, Kobe White at 8K, that's a tough one for me to click, especially when I'm getting to Giddey. So I like Giddey a whole lot more than White. And then we'll talk about Vooch. I mean, 7,600, still not getting a ton of ownership. I think obviously the matchup is a little bit softer with DeAndre Jordan on the other side. I think especially him coming off 38 minutes, might be a position where he gets, the same amount of minutes, but he may be a little bit more tired in his old age. So I think Vooch is in a pretty decent spot tonight at 7,600. getting those minutes back. And I think it's just priced a little too cheap. So Giddey and Vooch for me, and then, White would fall into the secondary plays with everybody else. But, tell me if I missed anything from this Bulls side after those main guys. And then let me know if you agree with how I kind of rank those Nuggets on the other side.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. Westbrook is only in play if Gordon is out. I'm in on that. No MPJ for me. Jamal Murray gets the nut matchup against this terrible Bulls team guarding the guards. He'll be popular coming off. How many real-life points did he score? Like 40 the other night, 39. So, second night of a back-to-back, can he do it? But I'm with you on Giddey. So I was going to ask you this. Giddey versus Ant versus Franz. Rank those three. They're all in the same price point, different position eligibility, but all around the same price.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I'm definitely more than Franz. Yep. And then Ant, that's a tough one. And I think if you consider everything, like the questionable tag and like what Ant has been really, in the games that he shows upside, he's been able to get to the free throw line and hit threes. And I think this matchup necessarily doesn't mesh well with him. So I think I'd play him over Ant as well, especially, the fact that Ant will be, I know Giddey's getting the ownership at almost 30%, but I think that may come down whenever we do get official news that Ant is in. I think Ant's percentage goes up and kind of flirts with 20.
Yeah. Excellent breakdown there. No, I think you nailed that one. That'll do it. That's all 6 games on the DK slate. If you want our information on not to play Giannis, check in to SHIPITNation.com. We'll have all of that over there for you. Once again, Giannis still not on the winner. Been 2 months since he's been on the winner, but that's neither here nor there. BJ, it's been an absolute honor working with you this season on the NBA show. My guy Rio and Title and BJ will be taking you home. My guy Big Nades and I taking over the MLB Street starting this Friday. Make sure you're tuning in. We have NBA show and an MLB show this Friday as we kick off that season. I couldn't get out of here, BJ. I'm going to do a little bit differently. Give me somebody that's going to be on the winner. Give me a little 6Xer than somebody that is going to be popular not to play tonight. So I want somebody you're going to play, somebody that's going to be popular that you're going to be lower on than the field.
Yeah, let's start with who's going to be popular that won't be on the winner. Yeah. So, it's got to be, I got to go Ant. Like I said, I think once we get news that he's going to be in, I think that ownership is going to get into the 20s. And so I'll pair him with Halliburton. So both those guys will be about 20% in that first game that kind of profiles as some game you want to get to. I think both those guys, we could eliminate 30 to 40% of the field by not playing either one of those guys. And that would feel like a very good start. And then the 6X play. Man, this is kind of a pick for you. Like, he won't necessarily make my core, so I won't be giving away a core piece here, but I think the Cam Johnson to get into the mid 40s tonight against the Mavs. I think he puts up like 18, 19 shots. He goes like 13 for 18 from the field, has one more big night before the season finishes. We're looking at a floor of 42 in that spot. I'll play that as kind of, like I said, like specifically for Ham. He won't be in my core, but a very interesting piece to get to.
Old man Ham could be guarded Cam Johnson, and he couldn't shoot 13 of 18. The funny thing is that was going to be my guy not to play tonight was Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson won't score 30 daily fantasy points. I'm just sticking to that. He's going to be 20%. He's 7K. He's got to get 42 just to be on the winner. He won't get to 30. And then Jordan Hawkins, fire up Jordan Hawkins. He's going to get at least 35. He'll flirt with 40, 45, but get Jordan Hawkins. That's almost too easy because he's 4K. But Jordan Hawkins, my play of the day. Cam Johnson is my gutter play of the day. But BJ, enjoyed it, man. Great season. We'll do some baseball shows together. Appreciate everyone tuning in all season. We'll still be around doing NBA shows through the rest of the regular season. For my man, BJ, I'm Ham. I'll see you Friday in the MLB streets. But always, just remember, let's ship it.